long time no see. Thank you so much for popping back to Queenie of London. I hope you're all doing so well. If you're new here, hello, it's nice to see you. To see you nice. I'm Queenie, thank you for popping by. Now, today is a bit of a special vlog. I can't explain how excited I am to be going to see my favourite band ever at the most incredible venue. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to take you all along with me to show you not only what it's like to go to a sold out concert by The Who at the Royal Albert Hall, but also to showcase its incredible history and show you just how lucky we are to have this incredible space in the centre of London. So in the process of this vlog, I might pepper about a few Who song references here and there, if you know you know, and maybe also just a little bit of Whostory as well as history. In the film of the Hyde Park concert in 2015, oh, I love that one. The interviews and the opening to it are just spine-tinglingly good, aren't they? Pete Townsend says something so brilliant. I mean, when doesn't he? But anyway, he says, there's a certain sense of warmth towards The Who in London. You have the mayor, who at that time was Boris, then there's The Who, then there's the Prime Minister, and then the Queen. So part of The Who's story is a London story. They're a London band, and as I'm a London vlogger who loves both, this is a very special vlog for me to show you. It's going to be loaded with sights, sounds and stories, so we can take in the Albert Hall inside, outside, and I'm dreadfully sorry if it's a bit of a long one. Go grab yourself something nice to eat and drink, and let's ready, steady, Who. So little Alfie here is all contented, and we are going to get going and get ourselves on an official tour of the Royal Albert Hall. Good stuff appears on a wander through a London park. Cut out of Hyde and you'll dream for days at Harvey Nicks and Harrods. Meander through St James's and you'll find yourself on a red brick road to not one but two royal palaces. Step out at Green and chances are you'll have a top hat doffed at you by a Ritz doorman and be all kinds of tempted by the very finest of Fortnum's. Take the Green Mile through Bishop's Park to arrive at the most gorgeous football ground anywhere. Come on, you whites! In Kensington, you'll saunter past the one-time home of the most famous of princesses, and you'll find yourself here, in front of a monument to a visionary and the product of his vision. Welcome to Albertopolis. In 1852, a large area of land was purchased in Kensington Gore, largely from the profits of the incredibly successful Great Exhibition held the year before. Behind that great triumph, which was visited by over 6 million people in its short 6-month run, were Prince Albert, husband of Queen Victoria, and patron of the arts Henry Cole. Inspired by the exhibition's success, Albert wanted London to have a permanent cultural centre to benefit the entire nation, filled with museums, scholarly institutions and exhibition spaces. The land purchase quickly became known as Albertopolis, and work began on making Albert's vision a reality. A year on, and Albert had had the idea for a great central hall as the focal point for his cultural complex. The South Kensington Museum, later the Victorian Albert, was the first part of the project completed, opening in 1857. In the following decade, the Natural History Museum, 1881, the College of Music, 1883, and the Imperial Institute, 1893, were all completed. But on the 14th of December, 1861, tragedy struck. Prince Albert devastatingly died at the premature age of just 42, and the Queen and her nation were thrown into mourning. Queen Victoria would retreat for 8 years from public life, and her deep grief left her wearing black until the end of her days. She was heartbroken, and nothing but the best would do in terms of a memorial for her husband. It was proposed that it should stand at the very head of Albertopolis, in Kensington Gardens, overlooking what was at that time just an empty space upon which an idea had been proposed. After 2 years, George Gilbert Scott's Gothic revival design was formally approved by the Queen. It was estimated that it would cost £100,000 and the hall a further £250,000. The government and the public were asked to donate towards both projects, but only £120,000, about 11 million in today's money, was raised, and Albert's idea for a central hall was dropped. This memorial took 10 years to complete, and walking around it you can see why. The ornate pavilion is in the style of a Gothic ciborium over a high altar. It's 176 foot high, and the whole beautiful thing is loaded with symbolism, motifs and meaning that are perfectly in keeping and in step with the man it memorializes. The central part is surrounded by the frieze of Parnassus. It depicts 169 composers, poets, painters, sculptors, architects. The canopy features mosaics depicting allegorical figures of the 4 arts, and around the canopy is a touching dedication. The pillars showcase figures representing practical arts and sciences. There are also statues representing moral and Christian virtues. The 4 allegorical sculptures on each corner of the memorial represent the Americas, Africa, Asia and Europe, as well as 4 Victorian industrial arts and sciences. Altogether, it becomes the perfect expression of Albert and what he was known and loved for. A gilt bronze statue of the man himself wasn't seated in the memorial until 1875, so when the memorial was opened in 1870, this Albert wasn't there, nor did he get covered in gold leaf until later on either. Very poignantly, in his hands is a cast catalogue of the Great Exhibition. From here, over 150 years later, this memorial never fails to make me gasp, especially when I start to see it in the distance from Hyde Park. It is loaded with an expression of the power of learning and with faith in something bigger. But what also exudes from it is love. So, with the coffers empty after building this memorial, how then is it that Albert now looks down on his much desired central hall? We have Henry Cole to thank for sticking wholeheartedly by Albert's grand plan. It was he who had the ingenious idea of raising the necessary dough by selling seats at £100 each. This is before a single brick had even been laid. For a ton, you get your seat in the hall and a 999-year lease. Queen Victoria and her son, the future Edward VII, were the first to purchase these seats. She took 20, and 2 boxes were merged to create one bigger box. I hope we're going to be able to see this box on the tour today. Because of that long lease, many of these seats are still in the family of the original buyers, and the 1,268 people who privately own seats are known today as members of the corporation and are fundamental in the hall's continuation. In 1864, with funds now in place, Henry Cole called on the architect of the South Kensington Museum, Francis Folk, to make Albert's dream a reality. It was Folk who put down the plan that was the basis for the building we cherish today. Tragedy, never far away, struck again in 1864 with Folkes' death. Fellow Royal Engineer Major General Henry Scott picked up the reins, and boy did he command. After Queen Victoria laid the foundation stone in May 1867, building work began quickly and the hall was completed in just 4 short years. It opened for the first time on the 29th of March 1871. meaning that the hall has just celebrated its 153rd birthday. There have been many performances at the hall since the first concert attended by Queen Victoria that have raised the roof. But the story of the actual raising of the famous domed roof is quite something too. At the time of opening, the roof of the Albert Hall was on record as the largest unsupported structure in the world. And it was all the idea of Major General Scott. Made from 20,000 square feet of wrought iron and glass, the metal frame was made entirely in the Manchester factory of Fairbairn Engineering Company. On completion, it was dismantled and brought to London on horse-drawn vehicles and rebuilt girder by girder. Scott was so confident in his dome that he stood at the top of the scaffolding as the last supports were knocked away and it was left unsupported whilst everyone else evacuated the building. The dome did drop, but only by 5/16 of an inch. That's a feat of engineering to do Albert proud. Running around the hall's outer wall, way up top there, is the 800-foot mosaic frieze, the crowning glory entitled The Triumph of Arts and Letters. Its 16 sections are a celebration of the arts and sciences by 7 different artists. The result is a jubilant cheer for human achievement in sculpture, music, painting, engineering, navigation, philosophy, astronomy, agriculture, and architecture. It's the perfect encapsulation of the very things Albert wanted the hall to celebrate. There's a brilliant part showing Britannia, angels at her feet, flanked by female figures representing peace, concord, plenty, and prosperity, and is intended as a representation of the Great Exhibition. All the pieces were manufactured by the tile-making firm Minton Hollins & Co, and when finished were laid by the female students of the mosaic class at the South Kensington Museum. The completed sections were brought over to the hall and carried up ladders to be placed in position. The Triumph of Art and Letters was the final finishing touch added before Queen Victoria opened the hall in March 1871. It was seen as the 19th century's version of the Parthenon's marble frieze rescued by Lord Elgin. There is a rather wonderful inscription running the length of the frieze too. Can you hear that coming from the Royal College of Music there? It's like a beautiful soprano. And there's some pretty blossom over there as well. Before we head in onto the tour, I'd like to take you on a detour back in time to tell you about my favourite hall happening. The story starts here, Better Books at number 94 Charing Cross Road. In the 1960s, this mini arts lab was a big part of the counterculture in London, owing to its link with the famous City Lights bookshop in San Francisco. Better Books was so much more than a bookshop, becoming cinema, stage, gallery, and giving a space to enable a coming together for the alternative underground scene and its ideas. In May 65, the beat poet of Howe, Allen Ginsberg, arrived in London and, having heard of the then manager of Better Books, Barry Miles, heads into the shop and offers to give poetry readings with no charge. This reading in the basement of Better Books was hugely significant and described famously by Jeff Nuttall as the first healing wind on a parched collective mind. Donovan provided the pre-reading entertainment. Andy Warhol sat in the front row. There was Gerard Malanga and Edie Sedgwick among the packed audience. It provided a catalyst for something else, a happening, a big one, right here at the Albert Hall. Whilst Ginsberg was staying here, a number of other beat poets were making their way to London, and an idea was hatched for another reading. Filmmaker Barbara Rubin suggested the Royal Albert Hall as a venue. She called them. It happened to be available in 10 days' time. She booked it at a cost of £600. They set to work and composed a manifesto that cited the words of Ginsberg, "You are not alone." The event was unlike anything else to have ever been held at the hall, and there was some worry that no one would come along. A press conference was held in front of the Albert Memorial, and Ginsberg appeared on the BBC. A buzz was created by the mere idea of the counterculture taking over such a performance space as that of the traditional Royal Albert Hall. At 6:30 p.m. on the 11th of June, the doors to the hall opened. Flowers from Covent Garden Market were handed out to audience members, who numbered in excess of 7,000. A huge number of those who had gathered had to be turned away when the hall reached capacity. Poetry was an incredibly radical force in those days and was very popular with young people looking for new ideas and ways of expressing themselves. This was a coming together of people from varying creative backgrounds to do just that. Performers were mainly American beat and British poets, 17 of them, including principal organisers Alex Trocchi and Michael Horowitz. Someone had to read the work of a Russian poet who sat in the audience, but whom the authorities had forbidden to speak. There was no running order, and the event went on for 4 hours. This was the International Poetry Incarnation, or Gathering of the Tribes. The underground was suddenly there on the surface. That's Nuttall again, and recollections from audience members demonstrate that there was a feeling this gathering of people and open creative expression was achieving something significant. The Times commented that the event raised subjects which would have outraged the founders of the hall. The poets seemed to pick strongly on various themes that would shock the establishment, but which were met with amused tolerance. This event made a group of people realise that they were all part of something. It was confidence boosting and reassuring. As Ginsberg had consoled, they were not alone. The counterculture had coalesced. The TLS identified the event as having made literary history by a combination of flair, courage, and seized opportunity. Documenter of the counterculture in London and New York, the brilliant filmmaker Peter Whitehead recorded the event and released it as a film under the title Holy Communion. You can watch it right here on YouTube. And so came the words to the hall in 1965. Meanwhile, back in the present, I'm house hunting before the tour begins. I've changed my mind about my preference for my dream house in London. It's there, this one. You could probably hear it from in there. Look at it, it's beautiful. I need to read about this house. This architecture is gorgeous. Look at the work on it. It's just incredible, and it's right by this chimney that nobody knows anything about, really. Look at it, stretches right up, and then look at the beautiful outlook that you could have if you lived there. I could look at my love, my true love, every day. It's just gorgeous. So that is now officially my London dream house. The first thing we were treated to on our tour of the nation's village hall was a view from one of the grand tier boxes. This made me incredibly happy, as I'll be sitting in the front row of one of these boxes for the concert on Monday. The one I'll be in is over on the other side. Sitting here for the first time when the hall was otherwise empty was such a wonderful experience, and despite its huge size, somehow appeared intimate, undaunting, and really, really welcoming. You could also feel echoes of the past all around you. We were given little devices to look at pictures of past events and little historical details, which was a great addition to the wealth of information offered up by our fab tour guide. Today, the hall was set up as a cinema for Lord of the Rings in concert. Now, when the hall does something like this, it becomes the largest cinema in Europe. A version of the film is played silently on the giant screen, whilst the entire score is played by an orchestra. I was pretty envious and really wished I was staying for the show. You might have also spied a crown over one of the boxes on this level. This is the Royal box, and we'll see this a bit later on in the tour. On each floor of the hall, the walls are adorned with incredible prints and photographs from its magnificent past. There were posters advertising weird and wonderful events held here, drawings of early performances, fantastic captures of news-making moments, and many, many photographs of the legends that have been on stage here, including, of course, this pair. This photo of Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey is from on-stage rehearsals in 2016, when the Royal Albert Hall issued The Who a rather belated apology. In December 1972, The Who had been scheduled to play their rock opera Tommy at the Hall, with guests Rod Stewart, Steve Winwood, Richie Havens, Ringo Starr and Richard Harris all due to perform. This concert, however, never went ahead, as The Who were one of the first bands to be affected by the Royal Albert Hall's ban on rock and pop concerts. Minutes from the meetings of the Albert Hall Council over several years leading up to the start of the ban in March 72 reveal increasing concerns at the destruction caused during rock and pop concerts. Of the 24 held in 1971, for example, only one passed without serious incidents of vandalism, rioting, injury and disorder. In this year alone, tens of thousands of pounds worth of damage was caused to the hall, with curtains being torn down, chairs broken, doors smashed in, and the ceilings of ground tier boxes falling through as a result of jumping and stamping of fans in the boxes of the second tier above. The behaviour of some fans meant that increasingly staff were refusing to work at these types of concerts. Before the start of the official ban, the Albert Hall had already denied some bands shows, including Mott the Hoople, whose gig in July 71 had caused, in today's money, £8,000 worth of damage. They also included Deep Purple, Yes, Gordon Lightfoot, James Brown, The Byrds and The Nice, and they were all named in records as being amongst the worst offenders. Led Zeppelin, famous 1970 concert attended by Lennon, Jermaine Greer, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, also caused £3,000 worth of damage. However, it seems it wasn't only the risk of physical damage that motivated this ban. In February 71, Frank Zappa was due to conduct the soundtrack to 200 Motels, a film in which Keith Moon was to star, at the Hall. Over 4,500 fans had descended on Albertopolis, and the concert was due to feature the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. During rehearsals, some musicians walked out on account of having felt revolted by the libretto, and two managers of the hall made the decision to cancel the event at the last minute, finding parts obscene and distasteful in the extreme. Zappa was not a happy chappy. On the 9th of December 1972, the hall was reserved for the London Symphony Orchestra. However, management became suspicious of the billing when it transpired that Tommy, The Who's rock opera, would be performed as part of a concert. Those at the top saw this as a sneaky way of getting a band genre into the venue via the back door, and they swiftly put their foot down, deeming the work unsavoury. Tommy would have to wait 17 years before it was welcomed at the Hall again in 1989. In the year of their 50th anniversary, management at the Hall decided to say sorry to The Who for having shut them out. In the frames presented to them in 2016 were original documents relating to the banning from the Hall's archives. But ball bearings had already pelted around the famous circular hall back in 1969, proving that there's a lot more Whostory within the walls of the Albert Hall. But I'll let Sir Daltrey tell you all about that.
The Who first performed at the Royal Albert Hall in 1969, and it was the same day as the Rolling Stones were playing a free concert in the park, and we happened to be headlining a show along with Chuck Berry, who kind of took umbrage at us being the headliners. And Chuck, of course, he was a god to us, and he said, you know, I should be top of the bill. So we said, okay, Chuck, we had to do 2 shows in those days. You can go top of the bill in one show and we'll go top of the bill in the next. So we'll flip a coin and then you make your choice, first show or the second show. So anyway, Chuck, I can't remember who won the toss, but I think Chuck won the toss and he chose to do the first show as the headliner, and we supported Chuck Berry. And in the second one, the second show in the evening, Chuck Berry finished his set and then we went on and started playing our set, and it was the kind of first time we played the whole of Tommy live on stage. And of course Chuck's audience weren't ready for Pinball Wizard and all that stuff, and they almost started a riot down the front, which ended up in a bit of a fracas.
The Royal Albert Hall's rock and pop ban stayed in place for a further 3 years before it was repealed, and then, thankfully, all the good stuff edged back into the hall. From rock royalty to actual royalty, back on the tour it was all about the monarch. This staircase is for royal use only and is complete with a rather dazzling hanging chandelier. And just off the landing here is the royal retiring room. This is where the monarch of the day would come before a performance, for the interval of a show, and afterwards to greet special guests. The walls are lined with William Morris wallpaper. That chandelier is from Buckingham Palace, and the chair in the corner is Queen Victoria's. The painted ceiling is a Victorian thing, denoting the utmost in style and quality. Around the room is every single royal who has ever attended performances at the hall in its 153-year history. A mere few steps from the retiring room across the hall is the royal box, which is larger than any of the other boxes in the hall and has a heck of a good view of the stage. And up we go. We're now going to head on up all the stairs to the very top of the hall, passing by some gorgeous views of the Albert Memorial through those big windows as we go. We're now in the part of the hall known as the Majestic Gallery. This is standing space during concerts, which runs around the whole of the top of the auditorium and offers breathtaking views of the entire hall. I did have to pluck up a bit of courage before I stepped close to that railing though. This space can hold up to 500 people and can be hired out for events. How incredible. I also really enjoyed looking up at the mushrooms from up here and the tiny slit of daylight you can see coming through from the hall's domed top. Now, in the early days, the acoustics of the hall suffered really badly from an echo caused by the cove of its ceiling. The solution to the problem came about in the late 60s in the form of these mushrooms, or as they're technically known, fiberglass acoustic diffusers. There are now 85 of them and they're made in Yorkshire. Our last stop was the original Victorian entrance to the hall. This is where, on the 29th of March 1871, Queen Victoria entered the now living, breathing reality of her husband's vision. The hall was going to be called the Central Hall of Arts and Sciences, but in front of the huge crowd that had gathered for the laying of the foundation stone a mere 3 years earlier, Queen Victoria declared, unbeknown to anyone, that it be known as the Royal Albert Hall instead. And, as a result, there are thousands of A's in dedication to Albert worked into the metal on all the staircases throughout the hall. I loved the 2 giant portraits of Victorian Albert on either side of the entrance here, and the incredible sense of history all around. As we were leaving, this entrance was preparing to welcome guests for the evening show. This tour has definitely made me all the more excited to experience the hall in action for myself on Monday. So, you know me guys, I can never resist a look in the gift shop. And after that incredible tour, especially after having seen some fantastic images and archive memorabilia on the walls of the hall, I was so happy to find this little number. You'll know if you've been to Queenie of London before that I can never resist picking up a book wherever I go either. Now, this is from the 150th anniversary of the Royal Albert Hall, which it celebrated in 2021. And this little treasure contains a load of the photographs and posters that I was mesmerised by today. So I'm excited to dig in and learn some more about what I saw. Apparently, a lot of these images are never before seen, and there's a pretty good amount of reading to get stuck into in there as well. It's all the more special now, 2 years on, as it's got this really happy photo of our late Queen in the royal box, and it opens with a lovely royal happy birthday message to the hall from her. Absolutely love this poster that I saw today. I love the black, white and the red. It's kind of modernist. I love it. So early 60s. This is the Swinging Sounds of 63 poster, which is a famous event because it was the first time the Beatles played at the hall. They were actually halfway down the bill and they were sharing the spotlight with popular stars of the day like Matt Monro, Shane Fenton and the Fentons, and Del Shannon. Del Shannon, I actually listened to Del Shannon today. He was in my Teddy Boy book. And yeah, so the Fab Four made the night apparently because they had everybody up on their feet doing the twist because they did an unexpected burst of twist and shout. So that is why that poster is a good one. While we're on the subject of the Fab Four, here they are at the Great Pop Proms. This time they were topping the bill because when it was held in September 63, we were in full-on Beatlemania. I think a newspaper at the time, I think it was the Daily Mirror, said that never had the Royal Albert Hall seen scenes like it. There was something like 6,000 mainly female audience members all trying to crush them. I bet they've got some proper good archive photos of that too, which I wouldn't mind trying to see. Also notable about the Great Pop Prom, I can't say that, Great Pop Proms. GPP, the Great Pop Proms. Ta-da! Also notable about it is the fact that it's one of only a handful of times that the Beatles appear on the same bill as the Rolling Stones, and on that occasion the Rolling Stones opened for the Beatles, so that's pretty phenomenal in my eyes. We can have a little gander at the programme, which is right here. Look at this. Look how lovely they are. Look, fantastic. I love that. I wonder what the rest of the programme was like. I might have to try and dig that out too. So you get a book and then you end up getting more books because you just want more. But also I might pop this little story onto Instagram because it's rather detailed. But I found a fantastic little anecdote about, you know, the lyric in A Day in the Life. got a good anecdote about the hall and what they thought about that lyric, so I'll pop that over on my Instagram. Got this fantastic image of Eric Clapton, and it says there that this was taken on his 100th performance at the Royal Albert Hall. He is the person with the biggest record of performances at the hall. I think it stretches into the 200s, so that's a pretty incredible record. What an image. Yeah, he started performing there with the Yardbirds as well back in the 60s. This bit here is lovely. I don't have a photo, but I do have a Terry O'Neill. I'll bung that in for you. This is about Frank Sinatra at the hall, and it talks about he came to the hall many times and he loved it, but the concert in 1977, in which he did an 8-night run, my grandparents were actually at that one, so that's a rather special story to me. Shout and shimmy, Monday's here. I have never wanted the weekend to be done quicker. But here we are, we've made it. The time is... and I am ready to leave. My outfit choice for this evening has been inspired by Daltrey tassels circa Isle of Wight Festival. I've got tassels on the bottom too. Let's go! Will you just look at that view? Me and him are on our second date now. I think this love's for keeping. It's perfect that I'm coming to see the band of ideas playing in the hall that belongs to the man of ideas. Poetry in motion. When it was originally opened, the Royal Albert Hall was intended to be able to hold 8,000 strong audiences, and in the past has accommodated as many as 12,000 guests. Nowadays, there is a maximum capacity crowd of 5,272, including those standing in the gallery. When you have a sellout show like today's, things can get busy, but the Royal Albert Hall is meticulous in its organisation. There are loads of entrances at ground level, and many of them have ramps, as you have seen from this video. When you receive your ticket, it will tell you which number door to go to access your area of the auditorium. Today I'm going through door 9 and I can't wait to bop through it. Entrance, gift shop, box office, restaurant, gorgeous cafe bar, and beautiful mural, which I'm going to try and get a photo by. Here in the Zevi and Ofra Mater porch and foyer is this stunner, appearing at the Royal Albert Hall by the godfather of British pop art, who is Sir Peter Blake. Known best as the co-creator of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album cover, he was commissioned in no small part because of his close personal relationship and love for the Hall to produce a piece which celebrated the Hall's unrivaled history. It was unveiled back in 2014 with the help of a few very special guests, who of course also make an appearance in paint form. This 10-foot wide triptych is a montage immortalising over 400 stars who have appeared on stage at the Hall since 1871. It's a total celebration of culture and the arts, with Daleks sharing a box with Jeff Beck, the Beatles sitting in the stalls with Judi Dench, Prince Albert pondering away next to Noel Fielding, and Fats Domino having a right good giggle behind Kylie Minogue. Everyone's here. Einstein, J.K. Rowling, Muhammad Ali, Buzz Aldrin, the Spice Girls. It truly captures the vibrancy and dynamism of the Hall, which has been a welcome venue to every kind of performer, from musicians, comedians and actors to sportsmen, authors and statesmen. Who can you spot? Also captured in the mural is another pretty big character in the life story of the Hall. It's the voice of Jupiter, the Henry Willis organ. Once the largest instrument in the world, it is comprised of 9,999 pipes and was constructed way back in 1870 by a company from Camden Town.
This evening with The Who. The auditorium is now open. The auditorium is now open. Would stewards please open all main auditorium doors?
So here I am in my box. This is Grand Tier number 37 and I'm in seat 1. So I'm right at the front of this box. Here is the stage. Look at this. And then look all up here. This is amazing. Look at all the lighting. It's incredible. Teenage Cancer Trust. Wow. I came in here early just to get this picture. How amazing. I am so excited for this, I can't tell you. There are loads of places inside the Royal Albert Hall to keep you well refreshed during your visit. Ticket holders can access any of the bars and restaurants, but if you're just visiting and not seeing a show, you can still pop in and enjoy the cafe bar and the Verdi Italian kitchen. What's really handy is you can beat the queues by pre-ordering drinks for collection before the performance starts. You make your choice online and your beverages will be ready for you to collect from the bar closest to your seats. You can even place an order on the night for drinks collection at the interval. Seats in the Grand Tier, Second Tier and Loggia sections are in boxes and you can order food and drink to be delivered directly to you. You can order up to 48 hours before the event and everything will be laid out for you in your box pre-show for you to enjoy as soon as you arrive. Seeing as this was a rather special occasion, I did this and I would really recommend. I think this is such a good seat to choose because you're on this tier of Grand Tier it's called, which runs all the way around. It's the same tier as the Royal Box, but the Royal Box seems further away from the stage. I'm literally like right on top of it. This is such a good move to make. I love it. I can't get over it.
presenters of Absolute Radio, and we are proud supporters of Teenage Cancer Trust.
It's amazing, we got it. It's the sky certainly full of stars. Thank you so much. No, you can't put them away. Because there's a trick in here somewhere. While it's out, we would love you to make a donation if you could. That's why we're all here tonight. It was a beautiful thing. It was beautiful. But if you can, text the letters.
Look at them all going out. It's like windows in the night time when the windows.
Every single pound makes such a difference.
Oh my goodness.
vacancies are available at teenagementortrust.org/text. Thanks for coming and for your awesome support. Have a safe journey home.
So phenomenal was that the whole experience. Squeeze, the Who, the Hall, so phenomenal was it that I didn't even make it home before buying myself a ticket to do it all again on Wednesday. I actually sat on a bench on Exhibition Road right by the V&A and went on the Royal Albert Hall website and managed to find a pretty good seat in the stalls, just hanging about there waiting for me to come along and nab it. So I am excited all over again, and if you thought this vlog was over, think again. So I think I appreciate the Who even more now I've seen them live for myself. It was a crazy show. It felt really untamed and had just so much character. There was so much fun in it. I knew they were doing it with orchestra, and I was kind of expecting a set list like the one they did for Wembley, but this one, it just had everything. There was Tommy and Quadrophenia and the classics, and I was just so wrapped up in it all and having such fun that I very rarely pulled my camera out at all. So I will now make it my aim to give you a little bit more on Wednesday, hopefully. It was just phenomenal and such a delight, and I will never ever forget it. It was just brilliant. There was this whole, while I'm talking, I might as well tell you, there was this whole section where they played The Rock from Quadrophenia with the orchestra, and on the screen behind them was all the events the world has experienced during the lifetime of the Who, and it all just came pouring at you alongside that music, which sounds so intense and all the more like alive with orchestra. To me, it was just amazing. And I was looking at the screen, and I was looking at the audience, and I was looking at the players, and every mood in the music just said something about the events you were watching on the screen. So it was just this incredible curation, as well as that. I'd love them to release a DVD of the concert, because I'd buy it for that alone to relive it. It was staggering, and the whole experience just felt a bit like history in the making itself, really. So get yourself a top up, guys. And some more snacks. I've got loads more to show you in this vlog, but for now it's good night from me, and it's good night from Alfie. Welcome to Tuesday. I have spent the morning reading all the papers and all the wonderful reviews that are in them from last night. Seriously, 5 stars, like across the board. Which was incredible, and it was so nice to read, and all of them mention all the really funny moments. There were loads of them. All the funny moments get mentioned, and I was lucky enough to actually catch one of them on my camera. So I've made you a little thing so you can see the headlines and hear the funny bit for yourself. So I'm going to pop that in here now.
It wasn't on the list that we said we had. You've got a different list there.
I've got a list, yes. It means absolutely fuck all because I can't see it.
I think I've rehearsed it now, so we can do it again. So, you know what's lovely about this event is that we feel we're among friends. So you don't give a fuck. We know who you are.
So on some level, I think I must have known that I would try to get to the Wednesday performance. So I booked myself a week off work a long while ago when I booked the original ticket. So today I'm going to go and take advantage of the nice sunshine and have a bit of a flaneur around South Kensington, which will be nice. I might pop into the V&A just to see what they've got going on, anything new. I also like to go in the gift shop there, don't I? And I might have a little look in the Science Museum because I haven't been there for a while. So you can come along with me little bits throughout my day, but if you'd like a more detailed tour of the V&A, I might have some cake in there actually in the good William Morris Cafe. You can have a look at my last video. One more thing before I pop outside, I'd also kind of like to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the Teenage Cancer Trust, which was the whole raison d'etre for yesterday's concert, and indeed the concerts throughout the week. So I'm going to leave you with a little bit of information while I head outside. Every day in the UK, 7 young people aged between 13 and 24 have their lives turned upside down when they hear the words, "You have cancer." From 1990, Teenage Cancer Trust has been in the corner of these young people. It is the only charity in the UK that is dedicated to providing specialised nursing care and support, from the moment of diagnosis through every step of treatment and for up to 2 years following. This incredible charity offers unique care and support especially designed for these young people who aren't children but who aren't yet adults. Money raised helps to fund specialised nurses, youth workers and hospital units in the NHS. Thanks to the dedication and commitment of all those involved with the charity, you'll now find these units established especially for teens in almost every major NHS cancer treatment hospital across England, as well as finding sites in Scotland and Wales. TCT also works closely with other charities focused on young people in Northern Ireland. Back at the beginning of this year, Roger.albert announced that he would be stepping down as curator of the annual TCT concerts that have been a highlight of the Albert Hall's calendar since 2000. Since that time, the star-studded events have raised over £32 million and counting for the charity, and there are many, including a chief executive, who admit that the charity would not be who they are without Daltrey and these shows. I absolutely love and admire the way Daltrey, who will remain as patron of the charity, speaks about his motivations for supporting the charity and their hugely valuable work, and the way that links to the story of The Who. Have a listen. The new boss will definitely not be the same as the old boss.
Way back in 1999, I came up with the idea to kind of try and do something for the Teenage Cancer Trust, because I passionately believe that without that adolescent, young adult audience, we wouldn't have the music business we know today. So I owe them, as an audience, a great debt of gratitude for the privilege that I've had in my life. So I kind of thought, well, how do we do something special?
After a decade of working with Teenage Cancer Trust in the UK, Daltrey, together with Pete Townsend, took the passion for improving the lives of young people with cancer to the States, just as they did with their music in the 60s onwards. In 2012, they became the driving force behind Teen Cancer America. It is this charity's vision that every adolescent and young adult diagnosed with cancer has access to age-appropriate specialised programmes and spaces, no matter where they are treated in the US. In addition to founding this stateside force for good, together The Who co-founded the Daltrey Townsend Teen and Young Adult Cancer Programme at UCLA Medical Center. If you'd like to find out more about these incredible charities and the work they do, I've linked both of them for you in the description box below. You are never going to believe what I have just picked up from in there. I have to carry it around with me all day now and it's really heavy, but I wouldn't change a thing. I can always rely on World's End books.
come take a walk in sunny South Kensington any day of the week. See the girl with the silk Chinese blouse on, you know she ain't no freak. The Cumberland soon down Cromwell Road, man, you got to spread your wings. Flip out, skip out, trip out, and make your stand, folks, to dig me as I sing.
Well, I'm doing all right with the books this week, aren't I? Look at this huge treasure tome that I picked up. Well, grabbed is probably a more accurate word, actually. It's what I picked up earlier, and it is just loaded with photos that are insane levels of wonderful. But it's not just photos, it's words, and words from people who were actually there or were on the show or behind the scenes. There's tons of little anecdotes and details, and it's everything that a book on Ready, Steady, Go should be. It's just fun and fabulous, and it's all just jumping off the page at me right now. There are profiles of individuals too, and stories of their times at Ready, Steady, Go. You have Andrew Oldham and Chris Stamp, and there's sections dedicated to mods and the mod ball and dancing and how it was filmed. And there's a chapter at the beginning which looks at life pre Ready, Steady, Go, and it does look rather grey indeed once you turn the page and the weekend starts. I love this section right here. Ready, steady, mode. So we did mod, now we got mode. This is crazy. It's all about the wonderful fashion that Kathy wore and then everybody else wanted to wear. The images. Look at that. And then if we turn the page, this is a huge profile on the founder of Bieber. I can't wait to give that a bit of a read. Let me just swirl it down for you so you don't get too much glare from my lamp. There's a exhibition on in London at the moment all about Bieber, which I'm trying to get to next week. Way at the back here, you even have a ginormous section of episode guide, which is amazing to have. This is excellent. If you're researching, this is such a joy because you get to see who's appearing at each individual episode. Wouldn't it just be so good if they released all the Ready, Steady, Goes on a DVD or made them accessible on the ITV archive? That'd just be so good. We can do that stuff now. Let's just do it. I would want to watch it. I bet loads of other people would as well because it's just so fun, and we don't have anything like it now. I bet it would be a hit if they put it on ITVX. And of course you have this whole brilliant section here. They talk about every single episode they were in, and of course the special and the titles, because they used anywhere, anyhow, anyway for the titles. Just look at these images. Oh wow. And then, oh gosh, there's more. And look at this. Smash up TV show for The Who. I love looking at old newspaper cuttings. Melody Maker as well. Oh, that's a good one. I love looking at like all the lighting rigs and stuff and the set. Disaster at RSG. Oh my god, look at this one down here. Oh, that's a great one. See what I mean? They're just photos I have never ever seen before. Oh, I've seen this image before. This is probably one of my favourites, actually. I love Moon in this picture. And then, over the page, we have a big old profile of the legend himself. So I reckon I found my bedtime reading, appropriate bedtime reading, and that means it will be Wednesday tomorrow. So, night, guys! I don't really reckon it would have been necessary to have that sign. Here we are again, guys. The time is, and I'm ready to leave. I've gone a bit glitzy today. Party time. So for today, I decided against taking the magic 14 bus and have instead taken an amazing journey, amazing journey, shorter than the song, to South Ken via tube. Here we are in the little tunnel. If you're getting off at South Ken and want to go to the Royal Albert Hall, you can take this subway. It does go on a bit, I'm not gonna lie. You can take this way direct to the Royal Albert Hall. There is some nice little artwork that I'll show you. I think it's original actually in this tunnel. It's very atmospheric. I'll show you when we pass it. So if you want a little direct route, it will bring you up onto Exhibition Road near the Albert Hall. I've become quite accustomed to walking up this Kensington Gore bit here and looking at that little view of the gorgeous hall peeking through the buildings. These are the Albert Hall mansions. Pretty incredible place to live, and this car's been here as much as I have this week. How beautiful. Apparently Cheryl Cole used to live in one of these, and they go for about 65 mil. And apparently, oh, that's what my mum said actually. She said that on an episode of Silent Witness with Amelia Fox, she goes into one of these. So, fictional residence as well as factual. I'm going to get in. Look at that, it's just gorge. So I'm in stalls today, so I can stay on the ground floor. So I'm going to have a little look around here because I've not actually been down this way before. So I'm quite excited to give you another view in this video bonus. I like these oldie worldy ones. On this ground floor level, I feel like it's a bit undergroundy. I guess it's because it's circular, but it's just old school underground. Look at all these, and look at this. I just love all these. I know there's a couple of Who ones about. Ooh! I could literally just spend time in this building looking at the photos. Look at Pavarotti. Sumo wrestling. This is amazing. I love them. I hope I've given you enough history in this video so far, as well as music. Let me just check where I'm going. Bars, doors. Yeah, I'm alright. Oh, I love this. Look, Paul Weller. Oh, I love Paul Weller. Look, I love this. Look at that. We have bars and restaurants everywhere. Look through there. Oh, hang on. Look at there. Oh, it's Noel Gallagher's. And I think this one's new because I've seen it. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? I love that. That's the, here's Vincent Churchill. That's a bit of a shot. Here's some information for you. Oh, it's quite amazing to think that these people have walked these halls. Look how it's used. Just incredible. I hope I've given you a bit of a sense of that. Look at this one. Psychedelic perfection. Sorry. Ooh, that one's ace. That's Kasabian. Looks a bit like a Wild Townsend to me. Right, I'm gonna just hang about. Oh, that's when the suffragettes stormed it. I adore this one. The posters on the walls of the ground floor of the hall are part of a special exhibition running this week, celebrating the performers of the incredible Teenage Cancer Trust shows. One of the charity's ambassadors, Pete McKee, has been creating staggeringly wonderful artworks which commemorate the shows since 2011. I absolutely love the Who dual design for this year, which we saw earlier. Also exhibited here is the artwork by Sir Peter Blake, the legend who did the brilliant triptych that greets you on entry to the hall for Mark Knopfler's special charity single, Local Hero. Here we are again, guys. I have not zoomed in and I haven't wide angled it. This is where we are. I'm at the front row of the stalls. This is block M, seat 87, row 1. So just for your reference, that all there is like arena and it's not tiered, it's flat. We're gonna get some art. I'm hoping we're gonna get a lot more dancing today because all of these are all stood up before. And then there's the stage, and I'm absolutely loving how you can see from below here. This is mad. I actually think I prefer it down here. Do you want to see behind me? I'll show you where my box was before. It was like over there. I think it was hang on, 42, 41, 40, 39, 38. Where that light's shining through, that's where I was before. Someone's going to move me if I'm in the wrong seat, but I'm pretty sure I've worked it out right. Gorgeous.
you very much for sitting down to see you.
girls, I don't really think I need to do a little sum up or review of last night. I think I'll let my singing, clapping, general applause do the talking for me. It was again phenomenal. I heard songs I never thought I'd hear them sing live, like Acid Queen, and the show was just different. It had Eddie Vedder come on and do the punk and the Godfather. That was definitely a bit of a standout moment, and it was just brilliant to experience. I have had such fun filming this vlog, and I think I'm going to have the most fun putting it all together and looking back. Now, I probably won't monetize this vlog because of all the songs in it, but at the end of the year I will work out, based on rates, how much it would have earned with the views that it gets, and I will make that donation to the Teenage Cancer Trust in massive thanks for such a wonderful time. Just before I go, I was writing an article on Lifehouse before I went to see The Who live, and I'm going to now start that article all over again because it's given me so many ideas. But for now, this vlog is over, but the songs never will be. Take good care of yourselves, my lovelies, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Loads of love from London, Queenie. Thank you so much for watching. Be lucky.